Now, under IDEA, a provision of a free appropriate public education requires related services as well as special education. And related services are specifically defined in IDEA. They are defined as transportation and such developmental, corrective, and other supportive services as may be required to assist a child with a disability to benefit from special education. And we'll go over that definition and what's involved with it coming out throughout this lecture. Now, related services must be provided to all eligible children in special education. A child who does not need special education is not eligible for related services under IDEA. And a child receiving special education may not be eligible for related services. So the point of this is that just because a child is in special education doesn't mean that he or she will be eligible for related services. But you can't get related services unless you're a child receiving special education. So a child has to be classified as a student with special needs, and then we determine whether or not that student meets the criteria for related services. Now, a school is not required to just give related services to every student. They're not required to provide related services necessary to maximize a child's potential. On the contrary, we give a child related services to ensure that a student can benefit from special education and the related services. So again, schools are required to ensure that a student can benefit from special education and the related services that he or she receives. You don't get related services to maximize your potential. Now, a school district does not have to provide a service to a student with a disability. The service is only considered a related service if it is necessary to help him obtain educational benefit from it. The related services has to be appropriate for a child. Now, the point of this is that when we talk about related services, we have to show that the service is going to have some kind of educational benefit to the child and that it's appropriate for a particular child. Now, schools can provide the services directly, or they can contract for their provisions from other agencies. So again, if the school doesn't have, say, a physical therapist on staff, they can hire through an agency for that particular service. But at all times, though, the school remains directly responsible for assuring that the services are provided. So if for some reason a school district doesn't have a speech-language pathologist in the building, it's still required to make sure that a student receives speech and language pathology. Okay. Now, when we talk about related services, IDEA includes a very long list of related services that schools must provide to students who need them to receive a meaningful education. And it's important to note that this list does not include all of the services which a school district may be required to provide. If a student requires a related service that is not on the list, it must still be provided by the school as long as the service is necessary for the student to be able to obtain educational benefit from special education. So the point of all of this is that IDEA is going to discuss a lot of different related services. But a student may need a different or a type of related services that isn't on the list. As long as you can show that that related service is appropriate for the child, the school is responsible for providing it. Now, school health services are different from medical services. Again, remember, medical services deal with evaluation and diagnosis. But school health services, okay, are different. These are going to be supportive services that enable a child with a disability to remain at school during the day and provide meaningful access to education. Now, in the Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court case Cedar Rapids versus Garrett F., the U.S. Supreme Court held that continuing nursing services for a student were considered a related services and that school districts had to provide them under IDEA. So the Supreme Court said that continuing nursing services must be provided to students who need them under special education law as a related services. Because nursing services are not medical services, this is not for evaluation and diagnosis. Rather, nursing services were seen as supportive services. These are the services that would enable a child with a disability to remain at school during the day and provide meaningful access to education. Now let's talk about that. School health services are provided by a qualified school nurse or some other qualified person. And school health services are designed to enable a child with a disability to receive a free, appropriate public education. Look, the bottom line is that there are many children with disabilities who need nursing services or supportive services during the school day to receive a FAPE. And school health services include providing and managing specialized physical health care services, which are necessary during the school day to enable the child with a disability to attend school. Now, states and local school districts often have very specific guidelines that address school health services. So what are we talking about with school health services? What kind of children might need school health types of services? Well, think of children who might need special feedings. You know, we just take it for granted that we can, eat our breakfast and our lunch and our dinner, and we have no difficulties with swallowing. But some children have very serious difficulties with swallowing, and they need special feedings. Some children need catheterization and other bathroom-related needs. There are some children who can't go to the bathroom without special help by someone. Some children have a lot of difficulty with saliva or getting things caught in their throat, and they need suctioning of saliva, suctioning of fluids in order for them to breathe and in order for them to eat. Many children will need medications throughout the day. Some children who have to be on their backs for a good portion of the day, such severe disabilities that they have to change positions so that they don't get sores or to prevent any kind of pressure sores, need to be moved. They need to be changed. If you think of a child in a wheelchair, that child can't be sitting all day in the same position. There needs to be movement within that child. And there needs to be care that is given throughout the school and school functions to prevent injury. So many children with disabilities will often need very specialized nursing care throughout the day. And the U.S. Supreme Court said that this type of care is a related service and is required by a school district to be provided to a student with special needs when it is appropriate. Now, school districts cannot require parents to attend schools with their children to perform health-related services. You can't say, well, your child has a lot of needs. Your child has a lot of different needs that's going to require full-day care. You as the parent need to take care of this, and you need to take care of your child. Because to say something like that would violate the IDEA mandate of a free, appropriate public education. Because it's not free to the parents if they have to commit their time. So school health services, although it can be very costly to a school, again, cost cannot be a factor here in determining appropriateness. So if the child needs it, and it is appropriate, it is the responsibility of the school district to make sure that continuous nursing services is provided, and that is a school health service, which is a related service under